Here we go.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order for the Washington County Planning Agency on Tuesday, August 27th at 9 o'clock. So roll call, Allison, Tim, myself, Pam, Dan, everyone's here, right? And and you've got it for, so we're going to go into projects and Pam's gonna lead us through the Village of Granville, please.
Oh, yes. Well, we will start with the Village of Hudson's Falls because the applicant and vendor is here who can answer any questions and. So this, first, we have three today, and the first of three is a referral of a project under the Village of the Falls Zoning Board of Appeals consideration for granting of an area variance. The applicant and vendor, and the address is 171 Main Street. And this is for an addition of a 20-foot by 18-foot deck off the back of a commercial restaurant at the rear of a building in an area zoned industrial with historic district and village center design guideline overlays. And the purpose is of the GML review that's 500 feet of the New York State report. I spoke with the code enforcement officer before for clarification regarding the relief requirement and the substantiality of relief, which is, this is a really teeny parcel and it's in an industrial zone that was an industrial traditionally. And currently, so the parcel is a pre-existing non-conforming parcel similar to other parcels in the overlay district. So the village attorney is working with planning board, we're talking to planning board to update the zoning, assign similar properties in the industrial zone that carry the village center design guidelines. And so I would say, and I highlighted it to just look at the purpose of the village design guidelines. But as always, for intermunicipal impacts.
So what is the relief requested?
Okay.
Doesn't say that in.
So the request relief, I didn't write it down, but so the industrial zone is like a 50-foot setback, but they have, yeah, they're in the drawings, there's the.
I would just say that should be listed in the seeker and also like explicit in their application. But the action is actually the area variance, it's not, the action that is here is not the building of the deck, it's the area variance. That's what should be listed, that's just what
Yeah,
the proposed action should say in the seeker.
okay.
Is this gonna be on the hill, basically going down Depot Street Hill, going off the back?
Not that far down.
Right, but I mean, see, you're going backwards, you're gonna be kind of on the hill a little bit. It's,
There's a hill further down. This property. Doesn't go as far back as a hill. It's like halfway there.
This
Hill further back.
is this what is currently Falcons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Allison, you would add in the.
Well, we need to figure out what the relief requested is.
Oh, it's in the, you can see it in the drawing.
Okay, but it needs to be somewhere in the application and in the seeker.
Industrial. Oh, there. Yeah, so it's 2-foot side, 3.2 and 6.2. For 3 sides of the back of the parcel. So the very back is the 3-foot. The industrial is the 50, 25, 25. So it is substantial.
Okay, so almost 100. I just have procedural comments that, besides that, the actual. The actual action is what needs to be put in the seeker, the area variance relief. For the 5 questions in the area variance, besides writing no, there need an explanation, should be added to those questions, for the board's review. So that they can conduct the balancing test adequately. And they can do that, the applicant can do that verbally during the board's review.
Does planning actually understand the project enough to make a determination today? They're going to get minutes for
Can I just ask a question, just for discussion? How does the Hudson Falls do their historic district? Do they have a historic commission? Do they have a board they go through, or is that done through the planning board?
It's a zoning and, it's part of their zoning provision that
It's
overrides.
an outside historic commission.
So they're, do they have a historic commission?
Question.
But,
What is directly behind where the,
Actually,
it's a pretty big
There's
drop,
nothing.
right? It's a drop,
yeah, further down, it's a drop off.
okay.
But the building at the bottom of Depot Hill, I'm not sure if they manufacture sauna, hot tubs, or whatever they manufacture. They own all that land.
Okay.
All the way up and maybe even behind what used to be the Stewart's. shop.
Okay, okay.
So they own it.
Mhm.
They don't use it, but
Mm-hmm.
it is part of that, in manufacturing. Whatever it is that manufacturing.
Okay. So you're not gonna, there are no real neighbors to impact with this. Yeah.
So possibly with the recommendations, we can send it back for local review. Is that what?
Do you have any other questions?
I don't.
Well, yeah, I would make a motion that this is a matter of local concern, just with some, this procedural comments about the application.
Okay, so Allison's made a motion, do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
let's back up to Granville.
That'll be a really nice view.
I know.
Yeah.
Beautiful sunset. Thank you so much.
Sure, take care.
Love that. Big business.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So the second one we're looking at today is a referral project under the Village of Granville zoning board of appeals, considering consideration for granting a use variance. This is the Granville Engine and Hose Company #1. 32 West Main Street, and is requesting relief in the village density residential zone to allow lease of a vacant firehouse to a local landscaping company. And the purpose of the GMO review is that it's 500 feet from New York State Route 149. I added an email that I shared with people from Rick. And so he had some comments, and he is looking for input into the question of this use. I also inserted an extra page that at the village deputy residential district, the first part of it, and then the second part, and I highlighted
This is another one. I guess I understand the fire company is the applicant, so the owners. But I guess they're not filling this out from the perspective of there'll be an actual like from the impacts that the landscaping company will have on the change in use. As you know, a use variance has a different level of scrutiny that needs to be looked at.
Yes, it's called 4-part square.
Yeah, and strict scrutiny tests, as opposed to the balancing test. The reasonable level of return is one of those difficult ones to show. They do need to show financial information. I mean, I guess I can just show what they'll get out of the rent, right, from the fire district's perspective. I mean, as far as number 3, yeah, of course, the station itself won't change, so that character, but I think it'd be useful to talk about, I guess, all activity be inside business hours, but they talk about like what sort of comings and goings with like intensity of use the landscaping company will have. It's important to think about. I can't really tell exactly what this is. There it is. Right on Main Street there.
Yeah, near Veterans Park.
Yeah, it's pretty.
There's a church and it butts a historic cemetery.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty busy intersection anyways, but.
But it is residential. Yeah. And I guess it's a very active landscaping company.
Okay.
That's what it says here in this email. So the
Okay.
landscaping company employs a lot of people and has a lot of equipment.
Okay.
They're occupying the building now and several neighbors are less than pleased with level activities and, and they're having a difficult time weighing this.
Okay.
And that's why they said that they're open to some advice.
Okay. Great. Yeah, so it's important that they do this correctly if that's what they're experiencing right
Future is very important.
now.
So this is, off from Quaker Street and Main Street and the entryway and exit off this property would be on Quaker Street. Am I reading that right?
It's right at the triangle there.
Yeah.
This is the bigger, so.
I don't think there's a lot of access restricted in there.
So you can
Oh.
access.
These are
from
real.
the other side.
Thank you.
The shape of the parcel suggests that maybe they had, I don't know, it's that long strip. Maybe, and maybe at one point there was a different access, but that was just sort of.
Here's my question, it says equipment storage, but it's just storing trucks and whatnot, or are they storing materials? I think that's a big difference, if you're just getting, putting it out of the garage every day, that's one thing, if they're setting up shop for, that's a story.
It's true.
So the fire department's gonna maintain and keep this property.
It seems that way, and lease it, right?
Yeah, and lease it. So they absolutely want to do this correctly because the responsibility of That's the way we'll go back on that,
Hmm.
anything is wrong. So that's pretty. Additional revenue.
You never know.
Yeah, I think it
It's
sounds like
scary.
must have consolidated with another
Yeah, they,
fire district.
the two of them joined, and there's another station right up the road,
Okay,
so now they're all on that station, so previously they had two.
okay, that makes sense.
It says that everything will be done inside the building, all the storage will be inside the building, according to their application. And during business hours. It's definition of what business hours are, so.
Yeah. Sometimes that's in secret. But that's in secret.
Right,
Usually. Now they didn't do the full.
My question is sort of. They're using equipment in the building, because that's. Or Oklahoma panhandle like strip running. But instead of the cemetery neighborhood, like so much. Because
Yeah, there are.
use their working on her storing stuff along there.
There aren't neighbors, but well, there's the church and then, but there are neighbors back there, yeah. And then maybe. Coming in and out. I guess we could, so they were looking for guidance on how to review this, yes, we should. Yes. Ask them to have the company, clarify, or, I guess clarify their business hours.
Contents, building,
So.
what contents,
Mhm.
what's machinery. Chemicals.
Well, we had, I guess, yeah, they should, I guess those are our questions, but we probably not gonna have them come back and answer those, right? But, maybe they could talk about like screening if they are having exterior storage at any point.
Can't tell, is there access to the back part of the parcel and the side of the sign?
And I know,
there's a house there.
yeah, I think the only vehicle access is from both sides of the front, Quaker, listening. There's a little parking lot on that one side. Doesn't go all the way back in that part you're talking about. Right, everything says all the storage will be inside, but I would say to confirm that,
Mhm.
so they know up front that that is the case to fact. And business hours, so when the question does come up in public of business hours, it's not business hours, it's
These are your
7 to 5 or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, these big companies can start pretty early. Yeah.
So with those ideas to send back.
Mhm. And then I might just talk about revisiting the strict scrutiny, the first question about the reasonable rate of return. They do need, the applicant, is required to show financial information for that point.
They're required to.
Yeah. And I think that and number 3. The board to consider how many, employees and vehicles are coming in and out of the property for the. I would say,
And that would fall under intermittent school concern also.
Yeah.
The number of employees, and the change of traffic pattern.
Yeah,
So what kind of vehicles, it's one thing, it's just pickup truck, it's another thing, it's a bigger, heavier piece of machinery.
yeah, and also it also speaks to that number three, you know, altering the essential character of the neighborhood, changing the traffic patterns, intensity of use of the site.
Any comment?
Yes.
So in the fire engine letter, they indicate that they explore the idea of selling the location, but seeing the zone residential. I would actually suggest that maybe they revisit that, because with the housing crisis that we have and with the number of buildings that are undergoing adaptive reuse, they actually might find somebody interested in converting it to housing.
So would you add a letter of that to them for suggestion?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of that going on in Granville right now.
Yeah, so in terms of the letter, the intermittent impact would be the traffic one, so that could be the comment, and then under that I could put suggestions.
Yes.
Anything else?
Decision that is. Well, they did. No. You going to make a motion?
No, yes, I think, make a motion if it's a matter of concern. Suggestions, comments.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Allison, I might send you the letter just to make sure the wordings.
Perfect.
Third one down is rural project under the town of Kingsbury zoning board of appeals consideration for the granting of a special use permit. The applicant is Charles Company, 116 County Route 1. And the project is auto body work and towing with temporary storage of wrecked cars in zone RA 1A. The purpose of GMO review is 500 feet of County Route 41 and County Route 32 and Ag District 7. And I have in here, yes, it's across from Kingsbury Hall. Yep. And so he's semi-retired. But he purchased the property there and put up a garage to keep himself busy. Tows vehicles for the state police, Hudson Falls Police, and Washington County Sheriff and all customers. He's gonna put up a fence to store vehicles until they are picked up. I think I made a comment in my notes. Storage of vehicles until they're picked up was like didn't indicate the turnaround time and what the conditions would be like regard to planning board and word in the junk laws. That's a good one. Right. After we can look at it, maybe.
See how
He has some fairly close, wait, which, so there's two sites highlighted. Is he gonna be on the little site, big site? Looks
They
like the little
highlighted
one.
Scott Murphy.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, you have the arrow, the little one. So he has some fairly close by neighbors.
Well, I know it's the one I'm thinking of because I live on Notre Dame. I think, that I was trying to say, it was this one, next one. Next one, I think is referred to as like Windy Knoll or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's, I think that property, the residence is fairly far back there.
I think it's hard to see, but in this little piece, you can kind of see, so that house, that, there is a house right there, but yeah, then back here it looks pretty wooded. So. Where do we think, do you think it's just gonna be like next to his house?
Yeah, this is the
Right.
picture. He
Oh, yeah, yeah.
41, and then there's
Yeah.
his building, and then there's like he grew in a.
Shop.
All right,
Then it's.
so it'll be on the other side. Wait. Oh, so how will he get there? That's in the back of his property. Just drive across his yard.
Oh, yeah, he probably has to have like an access, and I don't think he wrote anything about.
Oh, there
building
is-
A road.
I guess there is a driveway that starts to go back there, so maybe you just
Oh.
extend that.
Yeah, cause it's a little bit of a
Yeah.
deep driveway,
Yeah.
there's the garage.
I find this number 7 interesting, keep it clean, not to look like a junkyard. It seems a little seductive, because, you know, like you said, how many days are they gonna stay there? They're gonna stay there 5 years, are they gonna stay there for 3 years? I know we have a junkyard going on in Salem, that just keep growing, there doesn't seem to be anything you can build on it, because it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
And this happens in many places.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it flagged for me.
Yeah.
What does he mean by they're taken away?
Yeah, and then you've also got fuel. And, awesome, that's gather. Bars that are.
That's right, it's always that too.
And that's one of the considerations for granting a special use permit is the use will not create undue safety hazards in its own or adjacent districts or neighborhoods, and will not require increased public expenditure in excess. So safety hazards are a consideration. One thing I am noticing is that the location of where it's right on the property line, which is adjacent to the house. So I mean, it is in the back, but there is very nearby residents to where it's going, right on the property line.
I mean, I'm dealing with it now in the town of Salem, and the adjoining property owners justifiably are concerned because it affects their property values.
Sure.
And so,
And it has property value.
Mhm.
So just another thing to be aware of is that Kingsbury National is currently for sale.
Yep.
So whether that remains a golf course or there's potential impact to their ability to sell would be
I was
considered.
gonna say, from an aesthetic standpoint, you definitely don't want to be looking at, pulling into a golf course. And seeing a yard, whatever you wanna call it. There's a get life, so,
clean.
yes.
Yeah, and there's also the 1932 event farm right there as well. So there's an element of tourism impacts in that spot.
Also, I think once you get into it, there's no pulling it back. There's no way to say you just violated the conditions. And so then everybody's on their own, and it continues to prosper.
Yeah, I don't know if they could
No.
set like a limit of number of cars you could have as at a time in there.
Right.
You know,
And are they registered or non-registered?
Like I said, he's presumably towing for the state police and the village. I'm guessing it's more often than not DWI.
Right.
Like most people usually train fairly quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, you hefty fine every day you leave it in town, right?
I'm not sure what the licensing requirements, but it occurs to me, you know, again, that's golf course, ag area, et cetera. If you were potentially towing wrecked vehicles onto green lawn grass area that could be potentially leaking contaminants, is that like part of licensing, DEC oversight? Who looks at that?
Do you see what?
Be the secret.
It should be in secret. Did they do a secret? Good question. I wonder,
Fine, but yeah, they should do a lot.
they did a short.
Yeah. Good luck.
Anything impacts.
They did say yes for energy, but.
We permitted under. On Apple.
I wonder if there's a threshold for DEC though. Maybe that's a, I don't know, you have to have a. This ad. That are going on the. Yeah. Yeah. Under
Oh,
2
2
acres,
acres.
yeah.
The point is, you know, we talked about when it's open for the other one, and with this one, if the state police are bringing in DWIs, it could be 24 hours a day.
Certainly overnight.
Oh, yeah, they won't just. Yeah,
Right.
some states, they, not New York.
Yeah, they're not.
They're moving.
Right, there won't be anybody, usually won't be anybody at the golf course that hour that it's supposed to be
Neighbors, tow trucks, like,
Tow trucks, yeah.
and how does that impact? If you're backing a tow truck in, is that a county reporting one?
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I might be able to hear the beep from my bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
Then again, you do, I know just up the road, you know, you got the intersection of 32. 41 in Burgoyne, you got that little mini car shop.
Mhm.
That there. Yeah.
So I think they definitely need to address access. Access, visual impacts.
Hours.
Potential environmental.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's like the strongest
Yeah,
intermittent one.
yeah.
For us, you know, whether or not there would be environmental impacts,
Especially-
it's just storing the vehicles, also the amount of time or how many vehicles at once on grass.
Especially since,
I think, I mean, relevant to, you know, your agritourism, industry, the visual impacts might be something to reference as well.
saying that Mr. Murphy's property is an ag district also.
So, in this case, I could do the same thing for comment on the suggestions. But we haven't really, set a precedent in the prior one that we did that for Granville. There was a request for it, there
Sure.
wasn't a request for it here, so shall we think in terms of our role here and what we would say? I mean, all of this stuff is great to consider and they
Well, it's like I always say, accept or reject our advice as you see fit. So.
and we also can say that we, approve or disapprove, of course, we don't do that very often. But we do have the,
Well, I think I would be comfortable saying, you know, it is a matter of local concern. And then comments and saying the board could also make the following considerations when reviewing this application. With, additional notes, but not necessarily an official comment.
Comments aren't official anyway.
Well,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, is there like
yeah,
an
no,
additional?
just in terms of writing a letter. So, yeah, we can make also make the following consideration. So with the comment that the board could make with the comment that the board could also make, consider the following consideration, make the following considerations, and then we have address access, visual impact, agritourism.
I guess I would say that the comment is relevant to the county, the county impact.
Yeah.
And then the other considerations is
Like we
relevant
did
to
for
the actual
Granville.
application.
Is that what you're going with?
I guess we want to work it out before we, yeah.
I like that. That's,
Environmental impacts is a comment,
Okay.
and then the rest is, the considerations are the visual impacts to neighbors and it's, or tourism from agritourism.
That's something, is that an important, is that like a corridor for agritourism there?
Not really.
Not- okay.
No, I just, we have a wedding bar, that
Okay.
event bar, that works in good spirit. And then the access
Access.
and time,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I guess you could say, are there hours, are there like specified hours of operation?
Specified.
Is there licensing requirements for an auto body shop?
I think it's an auto body shop, like, that's what is it,
depends if they're a licensed repair shop or not.
right?
Says auto body work.
Oh, okay. Oh, they do
That's
work.
where the auto body shop and.
Okay. There is a license for that, isn't there?
They're, if you're a licensed.
If it's the operative term of that sentence.
Okay. Right. But they're not proposing to do work. As far as I can tell, right?
She said it's more of his after retirement.
Oh, but it does say auto body, a 1,200 square foot auto body shop in quarter acre, okay. So they are gonna do. Okay, that kind of changes. my thought.
Yeah. And then
Really, the
Maybe in
amount
that
of
shed
vehicles,
area, okay.
amount of vehicles, how many would be stored there is a big,
Those are the
that
two
goes
big
into big
ones, yeah.
questions, because if it's two, nobody notices. If it's 10,
Yeah, I think those are the two.
that
the
becomes
two
a
big
lot.
ones, yeah.
So is it-
Questions, number of vehicles that can be servicing at a given time.
stored there and service.
Because if you have an auto body shop, you might have 10 cars there because you're waiting for parts.
right?
And some might be quite damaged. And who knows what they're leaking.
And you bring in wreck cars, I mean, the ones you're referring to, those are usually in and out quickly. Bringing a wreck car might sit there for a month.
especially.
Right,
with the
depending on
winter
how
back.
bad it is, before the insurance company comes and looks at it. Sometimes they abandon there, they say, we gotta keep it, right?
And you see it just very easily turn into a junkyard, yeah. So yeah, that time frame I think would be an important consideration,
A consideration.
yeah.
Got it.
So I would make a motion as a matter of local concern with the aforementioned comments and consideration for the board's review.
I will second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
I
That's the end of the demo. Submissions, few meeting notices came in just a day ago and I threw in, have you seen them before? We reviewed the first one, Town of Putnam, County Route 1, in May, and this time, the application is determined and there's just a few changes. So I folded those, and then major project public notice, we reviewed 7/2, July 2nd, and application completed, changes in bold, and of course their comment period is over. And then, you know, we're ready for me to go to the last item. And the report of final action from the town of Granville Planning Board, Zachary Martello backed. We reviewed it by second, share, and the local board approved action for this project. This was the retail sale of selling bike scooters, electronic. And that concludes our business for.
What do you think your percentage of getting these back are?
Probably like.
To start, yeah.
That sounds right.
You ever watch Red Green?
Yeah.
You guys seem to think for every meeting. They do what they call the Mansburg.